This tutorial is about correlation analysis. I have some fictitious data entered in SPSS, socioeconomic status, politics, donation, and happiness. Let's run a correlation analysis for these variables. There are two types of correlation, a positive correlation and a negative correlation. Positive correlation means that if one variable increases, the other variable increases as well. And the negative correlation is if one variable increases, the second variable decreases. It's also called an inverse correlation. Let's run the analysis with initially two variables. Go to Analyze. Under Analyze, there is Correlation. Under Correlation, there is Bivariate Correlation. Click on Bivariate. A dialog box will pop up. Let's add two variables in the variable pane. Currently, the variables displayed in the left pane are showing the labels instead of variable names. Right-click and select the options Display Variable Name, and you will see the variable names instead of the labels. Let's add socioeconomic status and happiness in the right pane. Then click Options. Under Options, select Mean and Standard Deviation and press Continue. Before I press Continue and go to the output, the correlation analysis currently being performed is a Pearson correlation. This correlation is also a parametric correlation analysis on a parametric data, assuming that the variables entered in the right pane are normally distributed. If these variables were non-normally distributed, a Spearman correlation analysis will be carried out. At this point, we're assuming that all the variables we are conducting the correlation analysis on are normally distributed. So let's uncheck Spearman correlation and keep Pearson checked and click OK. Our correlation output will generate. The first table is descriptive statistics analysis, and in the descriptive statistics analysis as well as correlation analysis table, it is also showing the labels of the variables instead of the variable name. To view the variable name, double-click on the table. Another dialog box will pop up. Click View. Under Variable Labels, select Name. You will notice now the correlation table shows variable names instead of the labels. And close this dialog box. If you also want the descriptives table to show the variable names instead of the label, double-click on it. The dialog box will appear. Go to View. Under Variable Labels, select Name, and the names of the variable will be displayed under descriptive tables as well. So the descriptive statistics table provide mean and standard deviation and the sample size for both variables. So we have 20 sample size for socioeconomic status and happiness. The mean for socioeconomic status is 41,800 and the standard deviation is 10,430.72. So this is the average salary in our sample of 20. And then we have a mean of 16 for happiness and a standard deviation of 3.9. So on an average, the happiness score is 16 among 20 individuals. Let's discuss correlation table. Under correlation table, the information about the correlation between the two variables are provided in upper diagonal as well as lower diagonal. The value of 1 indicates perfect correlation, and that is only possible between the same variable. In this case, this perfect correlation is between socioeconomic status and socioeconomic status. The other value, -988, is the correlation between socioeconomic status and happiness. And this correlation is a negative correlation, which indicates that socioeconomic status increases, happiness decreases. This is also a highly significant correlation as the value of significance 2 tail is less than 0.001. In lower diagonal, As you can see, happiness correlates with happiness. That is why this is absolute 1 and a perfect correlation. Happiness versus socioeconomic status is the same value as in upper diagonal. So the correlation table repeats this information horizontally or vertically. An important point to note that negative 0.988 is a highly significant correlation. However, there are only 2 asterisks on this value. SPSS does not generate 3 stars by default, and while interpreting this, researcher needs to add a 3rd asterisk to this value. Let's run another correlation analysis. Go to Analyze, Correlation, Bivariate, remove socioeconomic status, and add donation in the right pane. We've already selected mean and standard deviation from the options. Click Continue and click OK. Now for this correlation analysis, this is the descriptive statistics table for these 2 variables. And then we have a correlation matrix. And this time we have a positive correlation between happiness score and donation, which indicates that happiness is positively correlated with donation or charity. More you donate or more you do the charity is associated with happiness. And as you donate more, you will feel more happy. So this is also significantly high correlation. And 3 asterisks will be added while interpreting the results. Let's run a final correlation with more than 2 variables. Go to Analyze and Correlation and run the correlation analysis. And this time we will test correlation between 4 variables. Let's just reset, and I will add socioeconomic status, political inclination, frequency of, and total happiness. In the options, I will select mean and standard deviation, press Continue, and press OK. So the first table is the descriptive table for all the variables, and the next table is a correlation table. So in this correlation table, the first variable is socioeconomic status, or income as an indicator of socioeconomic status. The first value of absolute 1 indicates perfect correlation, and that is between the same variable. The second variable is political inclination, and value of correlation is 0.330. And there is correlation, however, this correlation is non-significant as the significance value is above 0.05. And then we have a correlation between socioeconomic status and charity, which is negative 984, and it is highly significant. And then we have correlation between income and happiness, as we discussed previously. This is also a negative correlation and highly significant. Then we have political inclination, and remember the values given in upper diagonal and lower diagonal are the same. So for political inclination, the absolute 1 indicates a correlation between the same variable, which is absolute 1, a perfect correlation. Then the correlation between political inclination and donation or charity is a negative correlation, which is negative 0.346. However, this correlation is also a non-significant correlation. Same for happiness. There is a correlation of negative 0.337. However, this correlation is also a non-significant correlation. Lastly, the correlation between donation and charity with happiness is 0.995, which is highly significant correlation. And for the happiness, the last variable, the correlation will be with the same variable, and that is the perfect correlation. So the upper diagonal has the same information as well as the lower diagonal. The difference between the upper and lower diagonal is that the information is presented in row and the lower diagonal information is presented in column. 0.330 is the same in this column, and then we have negative 0.984. That is the same in this row. And same is the case with happiness, negative 0.988 and negative 0.988. So this is how a correlation analysis is carried out. A quick summary for this procedure is that there is a positive correlation and a negative correlation. Positive correlation indicates that if one variable increases, or if the score of one variable increases, the score for the second variable or the other variable also increases. The inverse or the negative correlation means that if the score or the value of one variable increases, the value or the scores for the second variable will decrease. And then we have a correlation that is non-significant. Remember, correlation between the two variables almost always exists. However, a correlation is given importance when the correlation is significant.